Hey everyone, welcome to Ironman 70.3 in St. George, Utah. It is so hot right now, as is very on brand for Justin. I'm running a little bit late, but I'm all checked in. I've got my gear bags. I've got everything that I need for tomorrow. I'm heading over to Tri-Bike Transport right now to pick up my bike. Hopefully, I'm gonna be able to get in a short swim at the reservoir today. But we're all checked in and I'm just so excited to be here. So with that said, let's go get our bikes, get the day started. Sarah just asked me how I think I'm going to do in the heat tomorrow, and the answer is I think on the bike it's going to be okay, and I think on the run it is going to be awful. It's going to be so hot. Okay. Okay. So I definitely just tore my wetsuit in like 5 places while putting it on, so that's awesome. Also, it is like so hot. I'm like sweating disgustingly just putting my suit on. It's gross. So amazingly, this is my first wetsuit swim in like a year and a half, which is obviously not a good thing to do, but such is life. So yeah, gonna go get 15 minutes in. This water is only like 60 degrees or 55, but it actually feels really good. Feels okay. It is such an unnerving feeling to watch the rocks drop away and then there's nothing below you because you can't see it, it's dark. Anyway, yeah, I feel good. So now pretty much back to the hotel, sleep, start the morning. The way this race works is a little bit different because there's a split transition. So I'm actually driving away from my bike right now, heading to T2 in the finish line, and then I'm going to take a bus back. Basically, once I get there, I'll swim, get on my bike, do the bike course, and then that'll take me back to T2, which is where I'm going right now. Overall, I definitely feel calmer this morning. I'm always more calm the morning of a race versus the night before. I was stressed last night. It's going to be hot today. I've actually decided to throw on a jersey and a running shirt so I can have more sun protection. Big things to focus on today are primarily my wattage on the bike and my pace on the run, as well as staying calm on the swim. I'm not trying to go fast today particularly. I'm just trying to like maximize my output. So the best thing that I'm going to be able to do, especially on a super hot course when I haven't raced in a long time, is hit my nutrition perfectly and stay within power goals. So those are the 2 big things that I'm really going to be focusing on. I feel good.
And then at the last.
That was rough.
Woo! Justin, let's go!
So hard.
You got it.
Suck.
You got it.
The swim was hard, and then the bike was hard, and then the run turned out to be hard.
So everything's hard.
Just getting our final athletes into the finish line. Got about 60 athletes to go right now. Thank you very much, Sport fans. Francisco Torres.
All right, St. George is complete. That was a hard, challenging, humbling race. That's the medal. Man, it took a lot to get that one today. It's been so long since I've raced, and I really felt it. Today definitely reminded me just how much more fitness I have to improve, how much I need to improve my technique. There was a lot going on today. So let's break it down real quick. Swim, bike, and run. Swim. Yeah, definitely had, I don't want to call it a full-on panic attack, but I definitely had to tread water a couple of times. My swim cap fell off twice, and I tried to put it back on, and I swallowed some water and almost threw up a little bit in the water once or twice, so that was a blast. But I got through it. There were a lot of people, I think, in the same position as I was. I talked to people on the run. A lot of people had a really hard swim. It was glassy out here at St. George, but it took me an hour to get into the water, almost 50 minutes, because of the swim waves. And by the time I got out on the water, especially as I rounded the turn to come back, the waves definitely picked up. Nothing like 2012. We're only talking like 18-inch, 2-foot waves, but it was just enough to wake you up. And for someone who hasn't open water swam in a long time, it was a challenge. I have a lot to improve there. The bike, man, gorgeous, hot, hilly, hard, all the H words apparently, but it was fun. It was actually a pretty fast course. The roads overall were really, really good. Coming off of the swim and going onto the bike, I wasn't in a mentally great place. It took me 20-30 minutes to really start taking on nutrition, starting to feel a little bit better. I used Best Bike Split to give me power targets throughout the day. I was down probably 15-20 watts on those power targets versus what I was hoping for most of the day. Just wasn't quite feeling it in the legs. I think it had to do with the heat because it was 70s really when I got on the bike, and then up into the 90s, so I was really feeling that. But it was great. The main climb at mile 42 through 46 was a burner. It was so hard. So I was able to hit my power targets going up the climb, but my gearing on my bike, I run a 39 up front and only a 27 or 28 in the back, was not low enough. So I was spinning down into 50 RPM, I think, at one point. So even though my wattages were fine, when you're grinding that tall of a gear comparably, or relatively speaking, man, it was hard. It was hard. Some of the descents were a blast, but I haven't practiced my descending in a long time, so I was on the brakes more than some other people. I had a top speed of like 42, 44. But overall, the bike was really good. One of the things I did particularly well that I'm really proud of is I hit my nutrition really tightly. Nutrition, I historically just have a hard time actually remembering to take it during the race. I used Tailwind. I drank probably maybe like 1,000, but whatever it was exactly what I intended to do, and I had no stomach issues, and I felt actually kind of strong going into the run. So let's talk about the run. It was hot, it was hilly. Those climbs out of town, like at mile 2 and on, they're steep. St. George is not a joke. Like the hills here are, it's not just the total elevation, it's the steepness. I think that was what the surprise was. Like, I've run courses with a lot of elevation before, but that steepness, you'll feel it. Super exposed run. Thankfully, it was overcast really throughout our race. But there was no shade. But I'll tell you, the aid stations were great. They had good stuff. And actually, I basically improved my run throughout the run. Like, obviously, I still had to walk the hills, the hard hills at the end. But even the last mile was by far the fastest mile of my entire race. So my nutrition strategy worked. I never bonked. I felt good nutritionally. I felt relatively strong, all things considered. I still have a lot of fitness that I need to improve. But overall, for not having raced in so long and, everything else that's been going on, I'm actually pretty happy with how today was. It was a blast. I gotta say, shout out to the city of St. George, the organizers, my wife, who's behind the camera. Everybody really did a great job of bringing the whole race together, and it was a blast. Sad news. So if you haven't heard, somebody died during the swim, which I don't know what to say to that. Just tragic. So my condolences to the family. Like that's awful. I also know of somebody who's receiving CPR on the run. So yeah, nothing to say there other than tragedy, and that's terrible. With that said, looking forward to getting back to racing and seeing where it goes from here. I have a lot of work that I need to keep doing. Thanks to everybody who followed along on this journey for me. Thanks to those of you who said hi to me on the race or after the race. It was fun to meet you. And with that said, I'll see you on the next one.